My daughter fainted after opening the gift from my mother-in-law on her 11th birthday. My husband quickly took her to the hospital. When he returned home 4 hours later, he brought 5 cops and 4 lawyers with him. Welcome to Cheat Sheet Tales, where loyalty dies, lies bleed out, and the truth hits like a slap to the face. These aren't just stories. They're confessions soaked in betrayal and regret. Ever spotted a red flag when it was already too late? Say it in the comments. Let's tear into today's tale. Hi, I'm Clara. I want to tell you about my tricky relationship with my mother-in-law, Miriam. She always seemed to make things hard for me. Miriam had old-fashioned ideas and never really liked me for a while. My husband, James, and I lived far from them, so Miriam couldn't bother us much, but when James got a job close to them, we had to deal with her more. I could handle Miriam's behavior because I grew up dealing with difficult people like my own parents. Luckily, James's dad, Edward, was always nice to me, but the tough part was that Miriam spent time with my daughter, Zoe, who was 9 at the time. Zoe loved her grandparents, and they were the only ones she knew well since I didn't have contact with my own parents, even though Miriam and I had our issues. I put them aside for Zoe's sake. I wanted Zoe to have a good relationship with her grandparents. James also cared about family a lot, so I couldn't just cut Miriam out of our lives. Zoe enjoyed spending time with her grandparents, but Miriam still caused problems sometimes. Miriam kept criticizing Zoe's diet, saying I wasn't feeding her right. She thought Zoe needed more nuts for protein, but Zoe was allergic to nuts, and even their smell made her sick. I told Miriam this many times, but she wouldn't listen. She said Zoe needed to eat nuts to get over her allergy and called me a bad mom. I knew you'd say this, Miriam. We talked to the doctor, and Zoe's meals are balanced. Skipping nuts won't hurt anyone, but it could make Zoe really sick. I told her, even after explaining and listening to the doctor, Miriam didn't change her mind. She thought exposing Zoe to nuts would help her allergies. I was tired of arguing with her and tired of being called a bad mom. Miriam even tried to get Zoe to eat nuts, but Zoe knew better and always said no, feeling more and more worried about what Miriam might do. I decided to talk to James about it. I'm really concerned about leaving Zoe alone with Miriam. I'm afraid she might give Zoe foods she's allergic to, thinking it will help her allergies. I told him, don't worry so much, Clara. My mom might have old-fashioned ideas, but she knows her boundaries, and Dad is always there to step in if things get out of hand. Zoe loves being with her grandparents, and we can't just stop her from seeing them, James said, trying to reassure me. But Miriam keeps ignoring Zoe's allergies. I'm genuinely scared for Zoe's safety whenever she's with them without me. We need to talk about this. I can't keep worrying like this, I insisted. Relax, Clara. There's no need to stop Zoe from seeing my parents just because of this small issue. Zoe loves being with them, and if you're worried about Mom, I'll talk to her. She listened to me, James assured me. His words made sense. Zoe really enjoyed being with her grandparents, so I couldn't bring myself to stop her. If Zoe had ever said she didn't want to see them, I would have respected her decision, but I didn't. Realized that even James couldn't change Miriam's behavior. Things came to a head at Zoe's 11th birthday party. Edward and Miriam were invited, and they said they'd come. Miriam seemed really excited, which made me uneasy, though I didn't know why. When they arrived early, it surprised me because Miriam usually avoided being around me. She gave Zoe a big present wrapped in birthday paper and said, "Happy birthday, Zoe, here's your gift. Grandma got you something really special." Zoe thanked Miriam, and then Miriam said, "Wow, that's a big gift. What's inside, Grandma?" "I have no idea, Zoe. Grandma chose it, and she won't even tell me what's in there. We'll both find out when you open it," Edward said. "Come on, open Grandma's gift and see what she got you. I bet you'll love it, sweetie." "I'll be your favorite grandma ever," Miriam said excitedly. "I can't wait to see what you got me, Grandma. I'm so excited. We'll open all the gifts after we cut the cake. Zoe, let your friends arrive, and once we finish the cake, you can start opening the presents," I suggested. "No, Zoe needs to open my gift before cutting the cake. That's why I came early, to give her my special present," Miriam insisted. Despite feeling suspicious about Miriam's behavior, Zoe seemed genuinely happy to get such a nice gift from her grandma. The big heavy package made Zoe even more excited, and she couldn't wait to see what was inside. She wanted to start opening her presents once all her friends were there. I agreed to let Zoe open Miriam's gift before the cake. As she said, it had to be done that way. I didn't want to upset Zoe on her birthday. So we went along with it. But little did I know what a disaster it would turn into. Zoe and her parents were let down by the one person they trusted. Miriam not only ruined Zoe's birthday, but also turned everyone against her when Zoe opened the gift. She found a big cake with her name on it. She was happy for a moment. But then she passed out. James and I rushed to her, scared and confused, when we saw her throat swelling up. In shock, I watched as James hurried to get an epinephrine shot while someone else called the police. Knowing exactly who was behind this, I confronted Miriam, demanding answers. What on earth did you put in Zoe's cake? What's in it? I asked, my voice shaking with anger and fear. Miriam pretended she didn't know anything, saying, I didn't do anything. Clara, it's just a regular cake. I don't understand what's happening. Maybe something you did caused Zoe to faint. You've been neglecting her nutrition despite my warnings, and now she's paying the price. Don't try to blame me. Zoe was fine just a moment ago, and now she's having an allergic reaction. Tell me what you did to her, Miriam. I hope you didn't mess with the cake. You need to own up to your actions and take responsibility. Look at Zoe, she's turning blue. I snapped back, ignoring Miriam's excuses, focusing solely on Zoe. I hurried over with the epinephrine I always kept on hand for emergencies. Although Zoe's swelling went down a bit, she remained unconscious. It was clear she needed to go to the hospital to fully recover. The room was filled with worrying for Zoe. Tears welled up in my eyes, and even James looked close to crying. Miriam, who was already in tears, seemed scared. In that moment, I decided to cut open the cake to see what was inside. What I found shocked me to the core. I demanded answers from Miriam, questioning her sanity for putting nuts in the cake. Miriam, what were you thinking? You ignored my warnings and put nuts in the cake, putting Zoe's health at risk. How could you be so careless? I only wanted to help Zoe, not hurt her. I didn't like that Clara was so strict about Zoe's diet. While it's true Zoe might have reactions sometimes, I thought gradually giving her nuts could help. Miriam argued. My frustration boiled over when I confronted her, saying, Are you crazy? Our daughter is allergic to nuts. She could have died from this reaction. Who gave you the right to decide how to handle her allergies? Look at the mess you've made. I'm Zoe's grandma, and I have the right to take care of her. She be. Fine, you're all overreacting. You're just trying to scare me for no reason. I'm sure this is all part of Camilla's plan to make me look bad. But listen, Miriam, if things go my way today, you'll be in big trouble right now. All I care about is Zoe's health, I said firmly. Just then, the ambulance arrived with paramedics. They took care of Zoe and took her to the hospital. With us following closely, the doctors told us Zoe would need time to wake up and would have to stay at the hospital for a day or two. We were all overwhelmed with emotion. I broke down in the hospital, finding comfort in James's arms. After calming down, I called Edward to let everyone know that Zoe was no longer in danger. When I hung up, I turned to James and expressed my anger, saying, I'll never forgive Miriam for what she did today. She could have put our daughter's life at risk. I've been thinking about how serious this is. It's unbelievable. Something I wouldn't have believed if I hadn't seen it myself. My mom has become someone I don't even recognize anymore. She did all of this just to make me look like a bad mom. She acted like she cared about Zoe's happiness, but she never thought about how dangerous it was for Zoe, even after everything. She still says I planned it all. Today showed me how far my mom will go to make you look bad. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner and didn't do more to keep her away from us. I need to protect Zoe from my mom's bad influence. I failed as a husband. And as a father, James was starting to realize how serious the situation was, and Edward, who had always been a good grandfather, was clearly affected by Miriam's actions. This time, she went too far, even though she'd gotten away with things before. We were going to let her off easy this time. We decided then and there that we couldn't let Miriam keep hurting Zoe. Her actions were a threat to Zoe's safety, and we couldn't allow her to keep causing trouble in our lives. Miriam was no longer welcome in our family. We were determined to protect Zoe and make sure she grew up in a safe and loving environment. It wouldn't be easy, but for Zoe's sake, It was a decision we were ready to stand by, following a heartfelt discussion, my husband and I quickly made a decision while Zoe was still in the hospital. It was time to head back home. Edward, Miriam, and a few other guests stayed behind, eager for updates on Zoe's condition. This gave us the perfect opportunity to address Miriam's actions when we got home. 4 hours had passed since the incident. In the living room, we found Edward scolding Miriam while she seemed indifferent, busy on her phone. The untouched birthday cake sat sadly beside them, a painful reminder of what had happened despite my sadness. I held back my emotions when they noticed us. Edward and Miriam hurried over. I just got an update. I said Zoe is in good hands and she recovers soon, although she's still unconscious. The doctors are hopeful. Thank goodness Zoe will be okay. I was so worried, but it looks like everything's fine. It wasn't even a big deal. Zoe will be fine, and her nut allergy will go away soon, Miriam declared. In that moment, James unleashed his anger on Miriam, scolding her for everything she had done. Edward joined in, expressing his disappointment, and the guests, visibly shocked, stared at Miriam with disapproval. I, too, was filled with rage. I've had it with you, Miriam, I declared. We've given you so many chances to change. Even after your actions put my daughter in the hospital, you show no remorse. This is it. You will never be allowed near Zoe or our family again. You're banned from this house. You can't tell me where to go. Your son won't cut me off for no reason. I won't let you keep me from my granddaughter just because we don't agree on how to raise her, Miriam shot back. No, Mom, James replied firmly. You're not welcome near me or my family ever again. Dad can come here anytime, but not you. He's the only sensible grandparent Zoe has. He's done his best to keep Zoe safe. But today, you put Zoe in the hospital and acted like it was the right thing to do. I can't let someone so heartless be around my daughter. Miriam couldn't believe her own son was turning against her. She had always trusted James to support her, not realizing he was being rational, unlike her. Even the guests started criticizing her. Sophia felt trapped with no one on her side, not even Edward. In desperation, she screamed at us, blaming me for setting her up. This is all your fault, Clara. You turned everyone against me. I'll never forgive you for this. You should be begging for our forgiveness. Your actions have ruined your reputation and kept you from Zoe. I'll sue you for grandparents' rights. I'll take you to court and the judge will let me see Zoe. Just wait and see. I don't need anyone to support me, I responded firmly. You're not going to have much luck getting grandparents' rights from jail. I'm sure the judge would find it pretty funny to have a criminal asking for visitation after putting her own granddaughter in danger, Miriam protested. What are you talking about, Clara? Why would I go to jail? I didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything. I shot back. What you did is a crime, Miriam. You can be arrested for knowingly exposing a child to allergens. It's considered a form of poisoning. Maybe you didn't realize it, but James, and I did, we've already called the police on you. And look, here they come now to arrest you. Miriam, in denial, insisted, no, you're lying. This can't be happening. You can't arrest me for this. Miriam's panicked expression showed her desperation as she begged us to drop the charges. Tears flowed down her face and she started to panic. Then, 2 officers came in and told her she was under arrest. She clung to her hands, begging us not to send her to jail. James remained unmoved, telling the cops to take her away, while I gave Miriam a cold look, showing that her deceitful game was over. In a last attempt, she turned to Edward for help, begging him to do something. Edward, please, you can't let your wife get arrested like this, she pleaded. But Edward stood firm, saying, when my wife does something truly terrible and shows no remorse, I won't protect her. I've warned you for years to change, and you never listened. Today, you put our granddaughter in danger. I was only trying to protect her, not realizing it would hurt her so badly. Please, Edward, I'm your wife. You have to help me, Miriam pleaded desperately. But James stood by his decision, saying firmly, Miriam, I've already cut you out of my life. It's the right thing to do, and I plan to do the same. Tomorrow, I'll talk to a divorce lawyer. I want to end this as soon as possible. I won't stay with someone like you. I'll protect my granddaughter and my kids from you. Miriam was shocked and pleaded desperately, no, Edward, you can't do this to me. I'm your wife. Ignoring her, Edward told the cops to take her away. Miriam continued crying and begging for help, bringing a tumultuous end to an event that had long concluded. A sense of peace washed over me. James Edward and I went back to the hospital after the other guests left, clearly upset by Miriam's actions. They promised to tell everyone what she had done. The next day, Zoe woke up feeling much better, but she was terrified of Miriam. Zoe cried and begged us to keep her away from her grandmother, saying how Sophie had tried to make her eat things she was allergic to. To help Zoe deal with her feelings, we got her a therapist. At the same time, James and I started going to therapy together to work on our communication as a family. Having Edward's support was really important for all of us. With his help, we started to heal and grow stronger as a family. Sophie's life took a sharp turn for the worse after the incident. Her actions caught up with her, and she faced serious consequences. Once her own family found out what she had done, they scolded her and cut ties with her. Even her friends were disgusted by her behavior and stopped talking to her. With no one to turn to, Miriam found herself in a desperate situation, begging everyone for bail money. But she didn't get any help, and Edward filed for divorce. The next day, Miriam was served with divorce papers while still in jail. Receiving the divorce papers and herself sent Miriam into a fit of rage. In the following months, Edward was able to get a quick divorce, taking advantage of state laws, with the police report. As evidence, our legal case against Miriam moved forward. Despite the expectation for Miriam to cover Zoe's medical expenses, her financial struggles resulted in a lengthy prison sentence as the judge ruled against her. Moreover, we obtain restraining orders to ensure she stays away from our family. With confidence that Miriam won't have the chance to approach us again, we remain watchful, but if by some chance she tries to cross the line, she encountered the fierce protection of Mama and Papa Bear, who are determined to do whatever it takes to keep Zoe